Hi, working professionals. So today I've come up with a video which talks about how to improve your EQ and 7 practical strategies that changed my life. Okay, welcome to my community Synergy Nexus Collective. So now, have you ever walked out of a meeting and thought, why did I react like this? Or replayed a conversation in your mind, wishing you had handled it differently? For years, I believed success was mainly about knowledge, qualifications, and hard work. But life taught me something different. I discovered some of the smartest people struggle in relationships, leadership, and teamwork. Not because they lack intelligence, because they lack emotional intelligence. And honestly, I learned this lesson the hard way. There were moments in my own journey where I misunderstood people, took things personally, became emotionally exhausted, and wondered why certain relationships or collaborations weren't working the way I expected. Everything started changing when I began studying emotional intelligence and intentionally practicing it in my own life. Today, I want to share 7 practical strategies that help me improve my EQ and transform how I communicate, lead, and connect with people. Stay until the end because I'll also share a simple 7-day EQ challenge that you can start immediately. Okay, so now let's move to the introduction. So, coming to the introduction, just to briefly introduce me, I'm Deepthi Kuriachan, and as a confidence and visibility coach who transforms underconfident, undervalued professionals into confident, visible, promotion ready leaders through my EQ and communication frameworks, I would say that I often tell me, Dipti, I know what I should do logically, but emotionally I struggle. And that's exactly where EQ come in. Emotional intelligence is your ability to understand, manage, effectively use emotions, both yours and other people's. The beautiful part, unlike IQ, EQ can be d- developed throughout your life. Let's dive into the 7 strategies that can help you improve it. Now, first is practice self awareness daily. Everything begins with self awareness. Most people are aware of what is happening around them, very few are aware of what is happening within them. Very One lesson I learned during my journey of building communities and conducting these calls and coaching professionals was this: whenever something wasn't working, my first instinct wasn't to look outside. Maybe the audience wasn't interested, was to look outside. Maybe the audience wasn't interested, maybe the people weren't committed, maybe the market was changing. But when I started reflecting deeply, I realized something important. Sometimes my own emotions were influencing my decisions. When I first discouraged, I created less content. When I felt uncertain, I delayed taking action. When I felt overwhelmed, I avoided important conversation. That's where awareness changes everything. Today, one of the simplest practices I recommend is what I call the daily emotional check-in. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? What is the emotion trying to teach me? Instead of saying, I feel bad, get specific. Do you feel disappointed, frustrated, anxious, ignored? Naming emotions reduces their power over you. As the saying goes, you can't manage what you don't measure. The same applies to emotions. Now, the reflection question is, what emotion have you experienced most frequently this week? Now, coming to mastering emotional regulation. So, let's talk about emotional regulation. One of the biggest myths about emotional intelligence is that emotionally intelligent people never get angry or frustrated. That's simply not true. We all experience emotions. The difference is how we respond. I remember a period in my entrepreneurial journey when I was putting enormous efforts into projects, workshops, and community building. There were times when results didn't match expectations. Registrations were lower than expected. People who promised support disappeared. Plans didn't unfold the way I imagined. My emotional response was frustration, but I realized something important. Every emotional reaction was costing me energy. Instead of focusing on solution, I was replaying problems. That's when I adopted a simple habit: pause before reacting. Whenever emotions arise, pause, breathe, observe, choose. This small practice has saved me from countless emotional decisions. Remember, reaction is automatic, response is intentional. Emotionally intelligent people create space between stimulus and response. That space is where wisdom lives. Now, next is develop empathy. Okay, so empathy is one of the most powerful leadership skills. It is the ability to understand another person's experience without immediately judging it. During my coaching journey, I met professionals who appeared difficult, resistant, or uncooperative. But when I listened deeply, I discovered something else. Some were struggling with insecurity, some were facing family challenges, some were battling self doubt, some were invisible at work. The behavior wasn't the real issue, the emotion underneath was. This lesson reminded me of something powerful. People often act from pain, fear, or unmet needs. When we understand that our conversations change. Instead of asking, what's wrong with this person? Ask, what might this person be going through? The where one question can transform relationship. So the reflection question is, who is in your life needs more understanding rather than judgment? Now coming to the next strategy, which is improving social skills. Now, social skills are where emotional intelligence becomes visible. Many people think influence comes from expertise, but influence comes from connection. As I started teaching and community building and leading workshops, I noticed something interesting. People rarely remembered every concept I taught, but they remembered how they felt. Did they feel heard? Did they feel valued? Did they feel respected? That realization transformed how I communicate. Today, when I interact with someone, I focus on three things: listen actively, acknowledge genuinely, respond thoughtfully. People don't always remember your words, they remember your presence. The strongest leaders are often the strongest connectors. So, now coming to leveraging internal motivation. One thing I learned through the journey of building this small business and pursuing my mission is the external motivation doesn't last. Likes don't last. Applause doesn't last. Recognition doesn't last. Purpose lasts. There were seasons when progress felt slow, moments when it seemed easier to quit. What kept me going wasn't external validation, it was my mission. The vision of helping professionals become emotionally intelligent leaders. Wherever motivation drops, reconnect with your why. Purpose creates resilience, and when your purpose is strong, temporary setbacks lose their power. So, reflection question is, why does your work truly matter? Next is the practice mindful communication. So, communication is not about speaking, it's about connecting. One lesson I learned over the years is that many conflicts don't happen because people disagree. They happen because people feel misunderstood. Before speaking, ask yourself, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it respectful? Is it necessary? A simple shift in tone can completely change the outcome of a conversation. Emotionally intelligent communication is not about winning, it's about understanding. So, reflection question: what conversation have you been postponing? Now, seek feedback and continuous growth. One of the hardest thing to do is ask for feedback because feedback exposes blind spots. Throughout my growth journey, mentors, coaches, clients, and community members have helped me see areas I couldn't see myself. Some feedback was uncomfortable, but almost all of it was valuable. Growth begins where defensiveness ends. The most emotionally intelligent people remain curious, they remain teachable, they remain humble enough to learn. Reflection question: who can help you identify emotional blind spots? Now, coming to the 7-day EQ challenge and the conclusion. Now, let's recap. To improve your EQ, you should practice self awareness, master emotional regulation, develop empathy, improve social skills, strengthen internal motivation, practice mindful communication, and seek feedback continuously. Now, here is a small challenge to you. For the next 7 days, day one, track your emotions. Day two, pause before reacting. Day three, practice empathy. Day four, listen more than you speak. Day five, connect with your purpose. Day six, have one mindful conversation. And day seven, ask your honest feedback. If you complete the challenge, comment below. Accept. If you will complete the challenge, comment below. I'll accept the EQ challenge. I'd love to hear your experience. Remember, your emotions are not your enemies. They are your guides. The better you understand them, The more effectively you can lead yourself, influence others, and create meaningful service. If this video helped you, subscribe the channel and join me in the AI plus EQ leadership revolution. Together, let's build a generation of emotionally intelligent leaders. Click in the link and enter my private FB community, Synergy Nexus Collective, and for my upcoming webinars and other coaching sessions which I'm planning. Thank you and see you in the next video.